This is Motif TV's Take Two.
And today we are reviewing a movie called A Place Beyond the Pines.
My name is Rosemary Pacheco.
And I am Nicholas Iandolo. So Rosemary, what did you think?
I'm going to tell you right out that I have my issues with this movie. I liked it, but I had my issues with it. I have heard that this name, The Place Beyond the Pines, is actually Iroquois for the city of Schenectady, New York.
Actually, that's Mohawk. That's what I heard.
Okay. I heard it was Iroquois,
No,
but...
I heard it was Mohawk.
Okay. I like this movie, but as I stated, I have my issues with it. I feel like I was watching 3 movies wrapped into one, or trying to be one movie.
Yes, I agree completely. Actually, I thought it was kind of like Fast and Furious meets Heat meets Serpico meets The Outsiders. I didn't know if this movie actually knew what it wanted to be.
The story to me was a good one. I feel like it started out on a grand, epic scale, and it was going to tell me something really important, and this is where I feel like it fell a little short. You know, you have a story about fathers and sons on opposite sides of the law. And as I said, it left me wanting a little bit because it didn't give me a full sense of why the characters were doing what they were doing.
Right. It's like, it starts off with Ryan Gosling being this like big bad ex-con going out there and trying to actually redeem himself once he finds out he has a son. But then, he realizes that he can't provide for his ostensible, the mother of his child, and so he turns back into a life of crime, and it gets all crazy until he intersects with Bradley Cooper in his life. And then the whole movie takes a big left turn.
Right. This movie really does take a hard left. I mean, you've got this brooding, handsome, down on his luck, covered with tattoos, mostly done by himself. This is Ryan Gosling, and I gotta tell you, he is terrific. He's terrific as Luke Glanton. Finds out he has a son, wants to take care of this son. He is a motorcycle stunt rider, a professional one. Doesn't make too much money, right? But he wants to take care of this kid to the resistance of the mother.
Right.
And Eva Mendes, she's
definitely
great.
Played by Eva Mendes.
She's fantastic.
Right. She does a great job. She also does a great job in her character being somewhat misleading as well, because she could have just let him go off because he was planning on leaving Schenectady, or the Iroquois, Mohawk, whatever it is, the place beyond the pines. But instead she shows up and basically starts disrupting his life and then wants it both ways, in my opinion. So I think that she actually handled that duality in her character pretty well.
She did, but then we have enter Avery Cross. Avery Cross is a rookie cop. He interacts with Luke Glanton. Luke is robbing banks for a living, so we know this isn't going to end well for him. This is not a spoiler. It's not going to end well for him. Enter Avery Cross, and Avery is a rookie cop. He's naive. Doesn't quite know which way to turn. And the thing that bothered me a little, again, a good performance, but what bothered me a little is this is told in such a rote, linear fashion that there's almost no insight into why the characters are doing what they're doing.
I mean, there's an attempt with Avery Cross, played by Bradley Cooper, with him trying to step out of his father's shadow because his father is some kind of prominent judge or something like that, and he's a law school graduate who decides to go into law enforcement to actually take action as opposed to discussing law and legal ideas. But when faced with the realities of law enforcement, especially I guess at that time, with the potential corruption, and it gets to the point where it feels like all of a sudden the movie has entered into Serpico land.
Right, but then it fast forward 15 years, and here we go with another movie. And it's, as I said, they're 3 separate movies. They're all related, but they're so distinctly different. I'm not sure that works. Again, I like the film, but something is missing for me. I'm not quite sure if this 3-film thing works. And the way it takes these hard lefts, in the middle of the movie. I don't know. What else do you have to say about it? Do you think?
Well, the third act really falls apart for me. I just feel like, once we get to the kids, which are the sons of the Avery Cross and Luke Glanton, and it seems like well, their actions, the actions of the fathers, now
Right.
becomes transcended upon the children, and then, you know, they all of a sudden are affected by those decisions and choices that the fathers made. And the thing is that it seemed a little bit out of place, because the way that the characterization of the two sons, they're both similar and not that much different, which there should be a bit more difference in their
Yeah,
characters.
the two fathers are supposed to be different, seemingly different,
Right.
but they're really not. You know, the squeaky clean one isn't
Well,
not necessarily what you think.
he attempts to be squeaky clean, but supposedly he gets corrupted along the way, gets
Right.
recruited into the little world of corruption. He starts learning to play the game. And the interesting thing is, anytime you want to talk about like cop-style corruption or anything like that, you bring in Ray Liotta, who kind of had a bit
Gotta
of a
mention
throw.
Ray Liotta.
Yeah,
He's
well,
in the
yeah,
movie.
yeah,
Yeah,
it's a throwaway role there.
he's not a he's
Yeah.
a little bit of a rogue cop, but
rogue cop, throw him in, and all of a sudden he's the catalyst that sends Bradley Cooper's character off into corrupt land.
I will say that Derek, I don't know how you say that, Chian France, Chian France directed this. He wrote it. He also wrote Blue Valentine. I don't know if you saw that, but that movie for me was a real win because it had such emotion to it, and everything was laid bare. It is about the decline of a marriage. It's very sad, and you knew what was going on. As much as they tried to hold on to that marriage, it still failed. And in this movie, I wish they would have told me, you know, why the characters did what they did. Why did he ask his father for help? Why did one child turn out a way that you thought the other child would have turned out? I'm not going to give much more than that away, but I will say this. I will say it is, I think, a must-see, because for me, the acting is awesome. The handheld camera and the choppy scenes, it takes you right to the edge, the camera work. I loved it. I mean,
that made me a little dizzy at some point.
did it?
Yeah,
I loved it. I was like, oh, this is
Yeah.
taking me right to the edge. I love it. But for me, it's a must-see, so I'm going to give it an M, a Motif must-see, simply for, you know, the camera work, the acting, and I'm going to say the characters were interesting, but not interesting enough. But I think it's going to be a must-see.
Well, for me, though I enjoyed the performances, and I think Ryan Gosling gave a great performance, and actually I think Eva Mendes gave the best performance of all, but Pretty Boy Bradley Cooper, I've seen him in better things, like Limitless. He was
I've seen him in
phenomenal.
phenomenal things. This was not his shining moment, yes.
And, you know, I felt a little bit misled by the trailer. When I first saw the trailer, I thought I was watching a modern-day version of Michael Mann's Heat, with a little bit
okay,
of,
yep, all right, I can see that, yep.
And I was expecting that, but when it turned into 3 separate stories that were loosely interconnected, that's kind of what took me out of it. And I felt like, you know, if I had nothing better to do on a rainy day, I might be interested in seeing this.
Okay.
But it was a beautiful day. The sun was shining today. I mean, I could have done something else.
Yeah.
So if you have nothing better to do, definitely go see it. But I'm going to give it a Motif. Must not see unless you really have nothing better to do and you're a big Ryan Gosling fan.
Okay, well, that's it, folks. That's our review for The Place Beyond the Pines.
Yes, and join us again when we review another movie for Motif Magazine on Take Two. I'm Nick Iandolo.
I'm Rosemary Pacheco. See you again.
Take Two.